Strawberries don't grow year-round in Illinois, but you can find them in our grocery stores every day. How is this possible? It's because they aren't from here. They may have come halfway across the country on trucks and planes to get to the grocery store. The transports that are used to deliver food produce chemicals that contribute to pollution and the climate crisis, which only get worse the longer they're being used. The top 3 fuels that are used for transportation in the U.S. are gasoline, which is used 54%, distillates 23%, and jet fuel 12%. When gasoline is evaporated, it creates carbon monoxide, nitrogen oxides, particulate matter, unburned hydrocarbons, and carbon dioxide, which all contribute to air pollution and the climate crisis. Distillates produce many chemicals when used, all of them creating pollution within the air, water, and land. And the burning of jet fuel produces water vapor, nitrous oxides, sulfate, soot, and carbon dioxide. And with the airplanes being so high up into the air already, air pollution is worsened dramatically.
The climate crisis is worsening rapidly due to our world and nation's release of greenhouse gases. These gases, such as carbon dioxide, get trapped in the Earth's atmosphere and warm the planet. The Earth is already 1.8 degrees Fahrenheit more since 1880 and is increasing by about 0.2 degrees Celsius every decade. These higher temperatures contribute to natural disasters and the death of coral reefs. This is why we need to do all we can to limit our use of greenhouse gases, including buying food locally, to limit greenhouse gases from increased transportation.
However, locally grown foods don't have to travel nearly as much as food from the other side of the country. Locally grown foods are the key to saving the world. If people bought more locally grown crops, the amount of miles being used to transport goods would be cut down drastically. This would decrease the amount of gas used and greenhouse gases being released into the air, helping the environment by preventing pollution and the buildup of greenhouse gases. The less food that is bought far from where it was grown, the less carbon dioxide will be emitted into the air. Mackenzie and I decided to check out the farmers market and interview the farmers to see what was used to transport the food and where it was grown, to figure out how local the food really was.
Alright, where was this food grown?
Our farm is in LaPorte, Indiana, about 70 miles east of here.
Alright, and then how was it transported here?
In this truck you see right here.
Gotcha. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Where were these foods grown?
These were actually grown indoors and a little bit outdoors, correct?
In a greenhouse. They started their life under fluorescent lights, and then they moved out in the greenhouse when they get a half-inch tall, and then they spent about 2 weeks out there this time of year.
And how far away was it?
From this location? Well, we're actually located in Michigan.
About 95 miles.
And then what did you use to transport?
We used a vehicle, a truck.
Oh, cool. And you said these are week-old?
Yeah, these are just 1 week-old vegetables. They're the exact same thing as their adult partners. Same broccoli, same kale, same everything. It's just that 1 week we stop, we bring them here, you guys get to purchase them, and you can put them on anything you enjoy.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ron.
Burlington, Wisconsin.
And then what did you use to transport it?
That truck.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
This is all from the farm in Marengo, Nichols. It's over 500 acres. We have 1,000 different varieties of fruits and vegetables, and we just load it all up in the truck and drive down here.
Perfect, thank you.
Our farm is located in St. Anne, which is down near Kankakee, so about an hour south of the city.
And then what did you use to transport the food?
We actually use our box truck. We'll use our box truck a couple of vans depending on everything that we have. We obviously have a lot today, so
Yeah.
we need the big truck today.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Where was this food grown?
We are just outside of Benton Harbor, Michigan, so we are considered local. Basically, you just have to follow the lake, the curve of the lake, and you'll run into us.
Okay, and then what was used? What did you use, like a truck or a car? What did you use to transport the food?
That van right behind you.
Oh, perfect. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, have a good one.
The first question is, where was this grown?
Covert, Michigan, right next to South Haven.
All right, and then what did you use to transport the food?
This truck.
Perfect. Thank you. Have a nice day.
No problem.
After interviewing the farmers, we decided to purchase apples and asparagus from the previous 2 farmers. We would purchase apples and asparagus from Sugar Beet next, and then Jewel Osco, and then compare the distances from the different stores. Same crop, but different store. Now joined by our friend Genesis, our next stop was the Sugar Beet Co-op, a grocery store that claims to be local, sustainable, and organic. Along with getting the apples and asparagus, we checked out the other crops to see how local they were and where they were from.
Farming, so it was like grown one was maybe like rooftop garden type things.
Do we know it was Chicago?
Grown and packed in Chicago.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, that's local.
I like that. Oh yeah, right there, Chicago, Illinois.
Yeah, it says right there.
That's cool. And it's cool that they do this because like not everyone can get like stuff like straight from the farmer if there's not a farmer's market nearby. But you can get stuff like this, which is bought in a grocery store, but it's local.
Yeah, and it's grass-fed.
Oh, it says it's local from Midwest Family Farms. That's local. That's cool.
Hey.
I'm curious on where the avocados are from. Because avocados do not grow in Illinois.
Product in Mexico.
Mexico? Where's it say that?
It's in the fine print. They always hide
Say
it.
organic. Yeah, it's organic. So this isn't local, but if you're gonna get avocado, you might as well get them here because they're organic.
Wait, these are from Thailand?
Thailand, bro.
Oh
Man, that's far.
Okay, that's not.
Fragrant coconut.
But it's organic.
This is organic.
Produced by whatever, I don't know. It just says product of Thailand right there.
That's very far away.
Yeah.
I think our conclusion about the store is that if not everything is local, but there are a lot of local things, and it's basically an environmental grocery store.
Yeah, and if it's not local, it's organic. At least.
Or vegan. So we need to look at the produce. There's the asparagus.
Oh, you even got asparagus.
This is
They got asparagus here too. Guys, there's asparagus right here.
There's asparagus here too. Is that asparagus?
Yeah, this is fresh asparagus.
The label said that the asparagus was from Genesis Growers, which was a business we had just seen and interviewed at the farmer's market.
From Genesis Growers.
Let's go. Oh my
Wait. Oh. Wait, so it's really interesting because we just went to Genesis Growers at the farmer's market. So it looks like they also delivered it here, which is really cool because we know this is local too. Let's get some of this.
I'll get an apple. Oh yeah, so we don't.
We got Honeycrisp the first time.
Okay, so we don't really need to ask where they're where this is from because
We already know, yeah.
we already know.
We already interviewed those people.
Yeah.
And it says right there, St. Anne, Illinois, which is very local.
Yeah.
It's right in Illinois.
Yeah, so we're here and I'm gonna grab this one. Yeah, this one's a decent one. I'm just gonna put this in here.
Wait,
Or wait, or no, put this in here.
Wait, where's it from?
I don't know.
Certified organic. That's all it says.
It's certified organic.
So we can ask the people if they know.
Yeah, we can ask.
About the apples, because we didn't see where they were from, and we were wondering if you know where they're from.
Yeah, so so summertime, spring and summer is kind of the end of apple season. So, apples come right in the fall. So all our local apples will come to us fall, and then that supply will last through winter and maybe the very beginning of spring.
Gotcha.
By the time we get to May, this is all, Washington, and then it'll actually flip hemispheres, which is crazy.
Yeah.
So, but that's kind of what Americans want, right? They want to eat apples 365 days a year.
But when it's fall, you do try to get the local apples?
We'll have tons of varieties of local apples from Michigan,
Oh,
mostly
that's
from
awesome.
Michigan.
That's awesome. All right, thank you.
Yeah, but that's it for apples, unfortunately, right now.
Yeah.
But right now we're getting into asparagus and
That's
rhubarb
the other thing we got,
and
asparagus.
ramps and
See those little microgreens? Those are all year round. Those are from these.
yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
So some of the cool things about Chicago is there's lots of industrial ag. So there's lots of old warehouses and buildings where they're growing things like these tomatoes year round. And
Oh, yeah, Chicago.
and this basil, lots of salad greens and stuff. So it's kind of cool some of the things they're doing with old buildings in Chicago to do year-round produce. But yeah, and then outside produce will start soon for things like peppers and tomatoes and things like that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Cool. Yeah. Good luck.
Grocery stores like the Sugar Beet Co-op are a great solution to making things more local because while they can't have everything local, they do the best they can at getting the foods that they can to be local. And they're much more open and accessible than the farmer's market, making it easier for average buyers to get local food. Our next stop was Jewel-Osco, where we would be getting apples and asparagus one last time to compare the differences in location that they were grown and effect on the environment from each store.
Okay, so we just asked people, we didn't get footage of it because I'm a bad video person.
No, we didn't want to intimidate the workers.
Yeah, he seemed like he didn't want to answer, so. Yeah. So we just found out that the apples are from Chile and...
He said Chile and some are in America.
Yeah, and
asparagus is from Mexico.
Yeah. And that's a long way. We just noticed they're from Peru.
It says produce of Peru on it, so the guy was wrong when he said they're from Mexico.
We did some research and found out how far each crop was from river forest and how much carbon it was responsible for, assuming that all crops were transported using the same vehicle, an F-150 pickup truck with 22 miles per gallon. The apples from the farmer's market traveled 119 miles and released 105 pounds of carbon dioxide into the air. The asparagus traveled 136 miles, which released 121 pounds. The apples from sugar beet came from two places, Washington or Michigan, depending on the season. The ones from Washington were 1,949 miles away and released 1,736 pounds. The ones from Michigan came from 312 miles away, releasing 278 pounds. The asparagus from sugar beet traveled about 77 miles and created 69 pounds of carbon dioxide. Finally, Jewel Osco's apples came from 5,390 miles away, releasing 4,800 pounds of CO2. Their asparagus traveled 3,560 miles and released 3,170 pounds of carbon dioxide. The transportation of the apples from Jewel released over 45 times more greenhouse gases than the farmer's market, and the asparagus released about 26 times more greenhouse gases than the farmer's market. This demonstrates how using local food instead of food bought in normal grocery stores, either from getting it from the farmer's market, a local grocery store such as Sugar Beet, or even growing your own food, can greatly limit the amount of carbon dioxide being emitted into the air and even save thousands of pounds of carbon dioxide. With our environment in the drastic condition it is today, it is necessary that we do everything we can to help prevent it, and buying local is just one of the ways we can help save the world.